I do, Matt. I am thrilled to announce today that the Massachusetts Golf Association has agreed to take all of my trophies and all of my memorabilia to be housed at the Mass Golf House and Museum in Norton, Mass. For eternity. So I am thrilled to know that my hard work and my accomplishments will stay together. I will have my own room at the golf house, and the other thrilling is I'll be right across the hall from Mr. Francis Ouimet in his room. So I am so excited to know that where I grew up, where I played my golf, that they are going to take care of my trophies and my memorabilia. And I'm thrilled with it, and to know that they'll be safe and sound and be viewed over the years. I'm just honored and thrilled to know that they'll be there for eternity.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Beth. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just absolutely. I know you kind of said it a little bit, but just how much of an honor is it to be, especially with the neighbor you're going to have?
I know it. I mean, you know, my mom, bless her heart, she said, honey, what about your brother? I have 5 brothers. And she said, what about your brothers wanting? I go, Mama, I don't think my brothers want to really take care of my trophies and clean them. And in fact, my brother Mark, he's going to have his own trophies by his son to take care of and clean. So he doesn't want to worry about me. So little did I know. Now, I met Mr. Ouimet when I was 15 years old. I was just beginning the game of golf, and knew of him. I mean, knew of his importance through my dad. My dad knew the greats of the men's game and the women's game. And to think, after all these years, here I am, I'm going to be his neighbor right across the hall. And I joined the tour in 1974, so here we are, 224. I'm celebrating my 50th year of being an LPGA professional. And I remember 50 years ago when Carol Mann gave me my little card that said, welcome to the LPGA, and I was off and running, and yeah, it's a very special moment for me and for my family to know I'm going to be there.
Absolutely, amazing. And then, you know, for Beth, just kind of to pivot to the week ahead, what has it been like coming back to Upper Montclair, and just kind of the everything you take in and everything, the current players, the former players, just what's it all kind of been like?
Well, I have a lot of fond memories from Upper Montclair from when we played the tournament here. As Pat said, you have to be a great player.
Got to be a great player
to win here. But I played quite a few tournaments here and always enjoyed it. I think one of the nice things about playing here was that the city's not very far away, so you could always just kind of zip into the city.
Yeah.
A couple times early on, I might have gotten in a little bit of trouble in the city, but those are good memories. And then it's always good to come back out on tour and see the players. Yeah. Last night at the Pro-Am party, the Solheim Cup potential team was having a big dinner, and Stacey Lewis came in to the Pro-Am party and invited all of us to come say hello to the players. And I think for Nancy, Pat, Megan, myself, that was really special to be able to go in there and talk to them and say hello and catch up a little bit, because, you know, they're always so busy. When you're at tournaments, you're so busy.
Yeah.
So it was a nice time for all of us to catch up with all of them.
Absolutely. And then Pat, back to you. I mean, kind of the same question. What's it been like this week? I know a winner in 1983 here. Just what's kind of the memories that are flooding back in and just kind of taking it all back in?
Yeah, well, I said to Molly, I've been waiting a long time for this week. Oh, almost 50 years to be a pioneer. No, this is just a wonderful moment for both Beth and I. I'm honored to share today the whole week with Beth. We battled many a times. Playing against Beth, I had to work hard. I had to make my game better to walk the same fairways with these great players that we went up against week in and week out. But coming back to a venue where I was here in 1983, and to think the LPGA is back here again in 2024, it just tells the test of time that this golf course has stood for many years. It was great when we played it back in the 80s, and it's great today for these youngsters in 2024.
And then just kind of a two-part question for both of you. I mean, we're here celebrating the founders, the pioneers. What have you seen from these current crop of athletes that, you're proud that they're kind of carrying on that torch? Mm-hmm. And similarly, what have, in the kind of the same vein, what have the founders meant to both of you and, those that came before both of you guys?
Go ahead. Want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, the current players, I mean, the tour is so exciting right now with Nelly going for her sixth, potentially 6 win in a row.
The only one that's not happy would be Nancy.
And maybe Annika, I don't know.
Well, maybe Nancy, maybe Annika.
But since they both won the 5 in a row and she's tied with them, but I just think it's a great time for the LPGA. It's a great time for women's sports in general. We see how women's basketball has really jumped in with recognition. So it's kind of, an opportunity for the tour to take off here a little bit. Yeah. So that's exciting. When I'm around the players, they're so personable and they're always so gracious. And thank goodness I didn't have to deal with social media when I was playing.
Yeah.
Because, they're really good on social media, and they have people attacking them that, these anonymous, faceless people that attack them, and they handle it so well. So that, I'm just really, I'm impressed by what I see.
Yeah. I mean, in Beth and our time, we did our job. We practiced after we played, and then we headed home. I mean, these young women, there's no downtime. I mean, they're on call 24/7, and it's not easy. They really have to travel the world to do what they do, to do their job. We did travel. I'm not saying we just stayed here, but these young players today really do a lot of outside traveling. We stayed close to home, which was nice. So yeah, and if it wasn't for our 13 founders, there wouldn't be us. There wouldn't be a platform to do our dreams. So I am extremely grateful to our 13 founders. I mean, they persevered. They showed tremendous courage when, in their day, women's sports was considered insignificant. They were bound and determined to make it significant, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our association, and I'm proud that our generation left it good for this group that is performing today, and that's what generations do. They did it for us, for Beth and I, the generation before, and we've done it for them, and they'll do it for the next. So it's just a circle of competitive life and sports, and that old saying, timing is everything. Well, timing for me was absolutely perfect. I accomplished more than I ever dreamed I would. coming from, a small town in Westford, Massachusetts. I did not have the national career that Beth had as an amateur. I was a country bumpkin. I won the Mass Am, and that was big stuff. So I'm thrilled. I got more out of this journey than I ever dreamed I would.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and open it up. We'll start with those in the media center and then hop onto the Zoom. Sarah, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Seeing you guys at the Pro-Am last night with Nancy and Meg, it looked like no time had passed at all. You talked about Pat a little bit, maybe Beth, I don't know if you could speak to it too, just sharing this moment with these women that you did travel with, you drove all those miles with, you spent all those times on the golf course with. How much fun is it just to revel in the moment of this event where the LPGA is now alongside some of the women that helped get it there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was, it was pretty special. I mean, like last night I said to Beth and Meg, how did I find this place? I mean, we didn't have GPS. We didn't have a phone. I must have stopped at 12 gas stations and said, Joe, where is Upper Montclair Country Club? Because it is tucked back here so nicely. But it was, I mean, I lit up when I saw Beth and Meg and Nancy. I mean, we don't get together enough. And yeah, we battled and, we did our thing, but yet to come back and share our stories. We were talking about our trips to Japan last night, and
Toga parties.
our toga parties where we took the sheets off the bed and made our togas. We were over in Japan one time during Halloween, and we took our sheets and we made costumes and we knocked on doors, trick or treat, trick or treat. And they were like, who are you people? But anyways, we had a lot of great times.
Well, I think in the days when, especially when I was first on tour, we did a lot of stuff as a group. Like we would go out and 10 of us would go to dinner. One person would book a reservation and 10 of us would go to dinner. And, just talk about our lives, what was going on in our lives. And it was kind of a way to vent at night, to go to dinner with this group. And, I don't see a lot of players doing that today.
No.
So I think that when Pat says she played in the right generation, I feel the exact same way. I'm very happy with the generation that I played in and with, the people that I played with.
Yeah.
And I'm still, to this day, friends with a lot of them. I mean, Patty Sheehan, I stay in touch with. And there's so many players to Hollis Stacy, texting with Hollis all the time. And that it's just fun to keep up with our lives. And it's different now. We talk about different things. We talk about, well, how's your mother? Or how's your mother? That kind of thing.
I mean, there weren't, Beth had an agent, Nancy had an agent. Most of us didn't have an agent. In today's world, it's big business. Mm-hmm. These young women have to have agents. They are a brand that needs to be developed and out there, and that's a lot of work. I just did my job and did okay, but there, it was more family back in the early days. But today, everybody has an agent. Beth had an agent. Nancy did, but a lot of us did not. We just did our thing.
And I think for both of you, obviously, you all were connected to the founders. And I think it's so cool that there's still this living, breathing link to the founders through the pioneers now.
Yeah.
How cool is it for both of you just to be able to carry their legacy forward as pioneers and really be a representation of what it means to have worked to get this store to where it is today to these younger players?
It's great.
Beth, you were close to Louise.
I was really
very close to Louise.
Suggs.
Yes.
Louise lived in Delray Beach, and that's where I went after school. I went down to Delray, It's because of Louise and Joanne Carner that I joined Pine Tree Golf Club, because they're like, you need to join this. And I remember I called my agent. I'm like, it costs this much money. And he goes, let's break it down. You think you're going to be there for 5 years, it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I've been at Pine Tree ever since. I love it. But I got a lot of good advice from Louise, Joanne Carner.
Yeah.
I felt lucky to have them as friends, but Louise was a tough woman. She told it like it was. Sometimes she didn't want to hear it, especially about your golf game. If, you were in a slump or something.
No crying.
Yeah, Louise would, you need to do this and you need to do that. And, and I never got mad at her because I know she did it out of love.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I heard a lot of stories about the founders and the struggles that they went through. And I just give these 13 women so much credit for, you figure they started talking about this in the 1940s. They didn't get the charter done until 50. And think about the social culture of those times. And these are 13 women. They're like, screw you. We're going to start a women's golf tour, and
Yep.
we don't care what any of you men think. We're going to make it work. And they did.
They did.
I mean, thank goodness for them. So they set the tone for all of us and gave women another option instead of staying amateur their whole career, which is what everyone did.
Back in that day.
Back in the day. So it just gave women another option, and I am so happy that the 13 founders are going into the World Golf Hall of Fame as a group,
Yes.
because they need to be acknowledged as a group, because
Yeah.
they had to work as a group to make this happen.
Right.
They literally did everything.
Yeah.
But then, when we came up, they were on us as young players. They're like, I'll never forget. I went to Q school, and I qualified, and the next week was the first tournament in Miami. I walk out of the locker room for the first round. Donna Capone stops me. She says, where are you going? And I said, I'm going out to practice and play. And she said, your shoes are dirty. We don't do that. Go in
Go
the
back.
locker room and clean your shoes. And I turned right around and went in the locker room and cleaned my shoes.
Yep. You're a
But
professional.
that's what they were like. Image was really important,
Yes.
and how you dressed, how you looked, all of that kind of stuff. And they had no problem coming up and telling you. And that's, they were protecting their investment.
Yeah. Yep.
Tom, go ahead.
Getting back to the memorabilia and the trophies.
Yes, sir.
Now that you are getting it out of the house, are you going on a buying spree?
No, but I am going to be I'm going to be much more relaxed, because it's just in the house, and
Shh, don't say that yet.
Oh.
Yeah, don't say it yet.
yeah, it's all packed up and it's gone. But no, it's going to be a relief. Yes, Tom, to know that they're all going to be together, and I won't piecemeal it or off. And I've already got some ideas with the build out, and the Mass Golf has been so receptive. I wasn't sure, you got Francis, we met, you got the Curtis sisters. They're right there. You got Donald Ross. He's right there. I'm like, really? And they just were so welcoming, and I just am so relieved. I really am, Tom, to know that we're going to keep it.
One of the follow-up questions, and it kind of leads into this week, is you two have both been hot on your career. But can you imagine winning 5 in a row, and how do you handle that?
I know it. It's going to, that old saying, it's when you least expect it. Well, Nellie's not coming in here with you least expect it. All eyes are on her. And, it's going to be tough. It is going to be a challenge for Nellie. I'm sure she can't wait for the bell to ring and to get inside those ropes and be able to focus like she does. But right now, it's got to be interesting. And, you know, to see her at the Met Gala, I mean, that was exquisite. I mean, she was absolutely beautiful. And it was just, I was just so proud, you know, to see this young lady amongst all those celebs. And she pulled it off just fabulous, like she is. She's just a very talented, wonderful young lady. And what a role model that we have to take our game forward.
Yeah, I watched when she won the 5th in a row, and she said that was the most nervous she had been down the stretch. And, you know, I can only imagine how nerve-wracking this week is going to be. But, you know, Nellie's a phenomenal player. She really is. But to win 6 in a row, 5 in a row,
Yeah.
4 in a row, or whatever, your game has to be up here the whole time. And that's hard to do. It's hard to keep it up there. So, you know, I just hope in her weeks off, she was able to recharge her battery and get back out here and be able to focus. But, you know, I'm pulling for her.
I am too.
Yeah.
If we're all good up front, Rick, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, go ahead and ask your questions.
Good morning, ladies.
Good
Question
morning.
for both of you. Both of you had the chance to interact with the founders and play with them. But what are your most vivid memories of what they were like on the golf course? And the second part of the question, how important is it for today's players to remember what the founders did so their contributions don't get lost to history somewhere, which can happen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this event here is really important. I'm putting the founders up front for these young players is you know, showing them who they are and what they did. Our founders, they were very businesslike, you know, in a world where women weren't in big business. But we knew, I think Beth and I, we knew that we had to carry the torch from these wonderful women, and we had a big job to do, and we respected them greatly. We were fortunate enough to play golf with Marlene Hagee, Alice Bauer. I played golf with Marilyn Smith. I mean, I knew Patty. I knew Louise. Of course, Louise came to my Hall of Fame celebration. So we knew that these women were important and that we were going to do the right thing for them.
Yeah, and I would just say that, you know, when we had the Hall of Fame celebrations in the past, a lot of the Hall of Famers and the founders who were still alive were there. But I had, Louise was right in Delray Beach. Betty Jamieson was in Boynton Beach. So I saw Betty a lot. I never played golf with Betty. I did play with Louise later in life. And, well, I'll just tell you a funny story. She remained very competitive late in life. But it was Joanne Carner, myself, Louise Suggs, and Meg Mallon. So we gave Louise 18 strokes because she was up there. So she gets to the second par 3, and she hits it about a foot from the hole for a 2 for a 1. So Joanne and I look at each other. We're walking up the green, and we're like, next time you're getting 14 strokes. You're not getting any on the par 3s. But she had a great short game, even late in life, and I used to invite her over. We'd go over and have lunch, and then she'd always be like, come on, I want to watch you hit some balls. And it was amazing the eye that she still had for teaching, that she would just pick up on some little thing in my swing that would help me. But the founders were they were much more upfront than what you would see people or players today. So they had no problem just kind of telling you things to your face. And they ingrained in us that it is your responsibility to carry the torch.
Right.
And when we're gone, you need to get to the next generation.
Right.
And, you know, I think some of us have tried to do that, but I feel like we're losing that a little bit on tour.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that a little more, that, you know, letting these players know what's, you know, expected of them from a tour standpoint.
You're right.
I had the chance to interview Louise once, about 10 years ago, and yes, she was very upfront. And both of you have excelled at carrying their legacy forward. Thank you both.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rick.
Thank you.
All right, we got a couple from Alyssa.
Hi.
Hi.
So can you guys talk just a little bit about the evolution of the game, especially with just some of the amazing players as of late, like Nelly Korda, Lydia Ko, Jin Young Ko, and how do you think these golfers and others are shaping the game for the better?
Well, I mean, the game is definitely global. We have become a global tour, which, you know, I think it's important, you know, that we travel the world. This generation travels the world and shows their gifts, you know, of their golf to other countries. And then, of course, you got to come to the United States to, you know, to challenge your game. This is where greatness is made, is in the United States. We have a tremendous sponsors. Our you know, the money has gone way up. The golf courses have gone, you know, really high major golf courses. So I see this generation. I mean, they're doing their thing, and they know how important the game is to the world. It brings us all together. There are no boundaries in the game of golf. Like, you know, football, you can't play forever, you know, all that. But golf is a game of a lifetime, and whether we use it, you know, in business or on, you know, on the LPGA tour. So, I mean, I just think these youngsters these young ladies are, you know, just doing their thing and enjoying it, and they're playing it to the highest level. They're all so good, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, well, you ask about the evolution of the game. That's kind of a loaded question. Because the game has definitely evolved from, I mean,
From persimmon to metal.
Right, to metal woods, and the hybrid clubs have,
Yep, hybrid.
God, they're so much easier to hit.
Yep.
So the game has become more of an equipment game,
Yeah.
I think.
Very good, Beth.
But, you know, these players are, I mean, they just are, they're good. They're really good, and they're fun to watch, and they have all the shots.
Every shot.
And it's just, you know, it's exciting to watch the tour right now.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. I just have one more question. So back when you were playing earlier in your careers and you dreamed of what the LPGA could become, did your expectations match what it is now? Did it exceed it?
Well, I joined the tour in '74. We had about 30 to 32 events, and the total prize money of all 32 events was a massive 1.2 million. So that had to be divided up amongst 80 to 100 players. And today, these young ladies are playing for 120 million. And the other thing, Beth, I kind of surmised for myself is in my day, I had the fortunate to have trial and error. Meaning, if I made an error, I could still hold my own during the tournament. These kids today, they make an error and 15 players jump above them. There's no room for mistakes where in my day, 1974 to, until Beth came, I could make mistakes. But once Beth came, I couldn't make any mistakes because I knew she was going to jump over me. So my first 3 years, I had the luxury of trial and error, and where I could three-putt and still hold my own. Today, you three-putt, 15 people will pass you on the leaderboard. So there's no room for error with these youngsters, these young women. They got game, and they step on that pedal and they don't take it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, ultimately you go out there every day, you try to shoot the lowest score you can shoot, and that's just the nature of the game. And if you look at it that way, then I think you're okay. You have to kind of compartmentalize it.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you're kind of right about that, about being able to do that. Although I won a world championship one year and I made quad on the first hole.
Oh,
I
you
started
really
out
fought
with a
hard.
quad. Yeah, but I had to play really hard coming back. But and I think there were 20 players in the field.
That's right.
'Cause
That was
it
a
world
special
championship. It was a
IMG
world
event.
event. You're not dealing with everyone.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But still, Ben,
but no.
fighting back from a quad is, ooh.
Yeah, it was
a lot of work.
Wicked start. But I don't, I think you just go out there, but they have to play well all the time. I mean, it's hard to even make cuts, and
Yeah.
much less win tournaments or win 5 in a row.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, and you have the best of the best playing in one tour.
Yep. The best of the best, one tour. You're right. And we share it with the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, hon.
Thank you.
I just have one last question, because this has been fantastic. I know we could probably sit here and talk forever, but just one last from me. Lydia Ko still chasing that one more point to join the Hall of Fame. Just kind of talk on that achievement, on her, how she's playing, and then just both of you being in the LPGA Hall of Fame as well. Just what do you remember about when you got in?
Go ahead,
Well,
Ben.
it's always exciting when you get in.
Yes.
But I just was talking to Golf Channel earlier about Lydia, and I said, I think when you're 1 point or 2 points away, it's harder.
It's tough.
It's kind of like what Nellie's going through, trying to win 6. She has one tournament to win. So any tournament she goes to, Lydia is a focus.
Yeah.
And that makes it really, really hard. And it's hard to get it out of your head. So you're always thinking about it. You're always reminded of it. And it's like the Hall of Fame should be a bonus at the end of a great career.
Right.
It shouldn't be a hardship.
Yeah.
But right now for Lydia, it's a hardship.
A little bit.
And you have to kind of feel for her, but then Lydia needs to know that there are so many people cheering
Yeah.
for her to do it,
Yeah.
because she would be a great addition to the LPGA Hall of Fame, and frankly, she should be in the LPGA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about
Yeah,
it.
I agree. It's so easy to say, not to worry, it's just a matter of time. But bless her heart, I mean, she's grinding, and she will not be denied. A player like Lydia will not be denied. It's just, patience is a virtue. And I know she has that, because you don't win the tournaments she has won without patience. But I know it's hard because she is the focus of each week. But we are waiting in the wings to welcome her to the hall and embrace her because it is the crown jewel of your LPGA Hall of Fame, LPGA career. It's the crown jewel.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much to both of you. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Okay.
Thank you. We will. Please don't rain on us.
We need a cover for the perch.
Yeah, we better. But thank you all. Thank you, sir, so much.
I was waiting for you're announcing there is a super senior tour.
Oh, no.